the last piece of the puzzle was, of course, David Byrne. I had not met him, and I got to go to the little after party, and I'm talking to Lynn Mabry, and I'm talking to Chris France, and they're like, oh, you haven't met David yet. You met all of us. But you haven't. And I'm taking pictures with them, and I was just like, I don't think I should. And they were like, no, you got to go up. And I was just like, and I had that feeling that you guys, I'm sure, all have, where I'm like, what do I even say to this person? He doesn't want to hear from, there's nothing I can say. And I wasn't even asking for an art. So I go up to him, and I said, hi, David. And this is a private party, so he knew if I was in there that I wasn't a crazy person that was going to attack him because they wouldn't have let me in. So it was like a private thing. So he was immediately like, oh, hi. Oh, you know Jerry, right? And I was like, okay, I'm in. It's good. But what I said to him was, thank you for music.
You all know her from Space Force and Lower Decks. Please give a big round of applause and welcome to the Farpoint stage, Tawny Newsome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. This is kind of like the end of the day, end of the con, right? Cool. Appreciate you.
We do have a microphone in the center aisle if anyone would like to step up and ask Tawny a question.
Let's get it going. Let's put yesterday's questions to shame.
Be creative, folks.
Yeah.
Dig deep. Aha.
Don't ask me if the crossover was fun. Yes, it was fun. The end.
So, in regards to the crossover...
Great start. We're already doing great.
So, when I last saw you in Las Vegas, you had beautiful braided hair.
Thank you.
And you have wonderful hair today. Do you often look at the way Mariner is drawn and go, not so great, right? As far as,
you want different hair on Mariner?
Were you like... Was it disturbing that you had to conform to some artist's rendition of her appearance and her hair, and wouldn't it have been better to use your own hair?
I mean, no, I wanted to look like the cartoon so that everyone goes, oh yeah, you're the cartoon, I think that's the fun of it. That's why Jack dyed his eyebrows.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he's easy. It's got to be purple, but, I'm just thinking that, Mariner, if you look at her, it's a little Betty Rubble. Don't tell
the artist.
Go, right?
Don't tell the artist this. It's just a ponytail. She's just got it out of her face for a ponytail.
I just wondered if you were like envious of like what is it? Sonequa is it? Yeah, she has great. They're letting her go. Be very expressive with her hair on Discovery.
Yeah,
and.
Well, yeah, but she's got 5 seasons. That was one episode, and I needed to look like the cartoon, right? If I came out and didn't look like the cartoon, everyone would be like, why doesn't she look like the cartoon? That was the point. But I see what you're saying. Then give me 5 seasons, and we'll talk about different hair looks.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you for coming.
Hey, thanks.
The big episode, the inner fight, where we had the big reveal. How much heads up did you get from Mike McMahon about what was the basically motivation of why Mariner was Mariner?
Oh, yeah, good question. Nobody here has asked me about that yet. Thank you. I think he gave me a heads up like when we were recording season 3, and he was just about to start writing season 4. And all he told me, I think, was I knew that the episode of TNG Lower Decks was his favorite episode. And so I knew he wanted to tie Mariner's backstory back to that episode really directly. And we had questions about timeline, like how old is Mariner? Will this work? That we've never really answered. Shh, don't worry about it. So, yeah, I think he was like, I'm going to make her friends with the ensign who died, with Sito. And yeah, and then he was like, that'll also tie back to the first duty. And then I had to go back and rewatch because my TNG knowledge is not as strong. So I was like, wait, what's the first duty? And then I was like, oh yeah, the Nick Locarno stuff. Yeah, so it was all like, it was vague plans, but it was Mike being like, I have this plan for season 4. It's to tie it to my favorite episode. And that was as much as I knew. Thank you. Cool, thank you. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for coming to Farpoint, first of all.
Yeah, thanks.
But what I wanted to ask was, We know that Mariner served on DS9, and DS9 I think is your favorite, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just like Trials and Tribulations, is there an episode that you would like to be CGI'd into the background of?
You are cordially invited. Worf and Jedzia's wedding.
Oh, great choice.
Yeah. But I want to be on the boys' trip side. I want to be with Miles and Julian, like hanging by their hands and fasting. I don't want to be like with Jedzia, like researching Klingon lineage and holding buckets and shit. No, I want to like go do the boy thing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Hello.
Hello again for the last time.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
No.
Apologies in advance if I make anyone uncomfortable with this question/comment. As a Black woman watching this franchise, the past, several years as we got to know Michael Burnham, and then we get to know Ensign Mariner. Being online, it's been a little difficult because I hate Burnham, I hate Mariner. And I'm like, you guys, okay, don't watch it. Mm-hmm. Or just keep watching it. Maybe you'll learn to love these characters once you get out of your own head. And to see the discourse online the past several years has been really disheartening. And then once me personally, I got over it because I'm like, tuning that out.
Yeah.
Then you have Todd Stashwick on Picard, and it was instant. He was on screen for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And there's people online, we need to build the franchise around this guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, this guy, he's like Todd Stashwick, excellent. He did a great job. He's also one of the head writers of a video game I love. I love the man. I think he's been excellent. But it was just this instant acceptance of this character who was in a half of one episode.
Yep.
And now this vehement, we need to build a franchise around him. He's the best thing that's happened to this franchise. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I guess my question is, have you seen this discourse? And what are your thoughts about, people who are, there's been episodes and seasons with Michael and with Mariner, and people are still just really kind of nasty.
Yeah.
And then this guy is on screen for 2 seconds, and it's like, we accept him immediately, no questions asked. So, what have you seen, and what is that like from your perspective?
This is a great question / comment / observation. All I can say is there's no surprises.
Yeah.
I don't speak for Sonequa, but we recently sat down together and had a filmed chat for Black History Month that I think will be out on socials and stuff. And I love her to death. We're very different people in the way we handle our online presence. And, she's all grace and all like rise above it. And I'm like, man, tell that guy to F off. I don't care.
Yeah.
She and I, neither of us were surprised.
Right.
No, that's our whole life. I've woken up Black every day of my life. So, ever since I was a small child, I was prepared. I didn't know I was going to be doing this type of job, but I've been prepared for people to not be exactly sure why they don't like you, or not be exactly sure why they don't like you having an attitude, or not be exactly sure why they feel like you're angry when this guy is just a rebel. And they're not sure. They're not out loud bigots saying we don't like Black people, but they just have this feeling of like, I don't like this energy from her, but from him it's okay. And that it's never surprising. All love in the world to Todd Stashwick. All love in the world to that character, Shaw. Right. Those writers wrote a fun, compelling character.
Right.
My writers have also written me a fun, compelling character. They're not the same, but there are shades of the rebellious spirit of him telling Riker and Picard no. Can you imagine if a Black woman had looked Riker or Picard in the eyes and told them no? The internet would be in shambles.
Yeah.
So none of it is surprising, and what I love about this franchise is that it makes us, the actors, such good friends. Like, Stashwick is like my guy.
Yeah.
And it makes, I don't know, I think the fact that you see him and I at cons, you see us at events, award shows, I think that those people who are like, I don't like Mariner, I don't like Burnham, I do think they start to see that, and they start to realize that, like, maybe they need to interrogate or investigate why they're having these reactions to these different characters. And people like you are seeing it really plainly. So I kind of think that Not that it's good, not like, oh, it's a blessing in disguise. I don't believe that shit. I think it's terrible. I think what Sonequa went through and has gone through for the entirety of her career as Burnham is a tragedy in the fandom. But I am grateful that because it is so bald and so clear that some people are starting to learn, and people who didn't realize that this was such a blatant bias are really starting to see it and go, oh shit, like, wait, why are we okay with that no and not with any of Mariner's no's or any of Sonequa's anything that she's done? Yeah. Why? It's not just, oh, we don't like the character, we don't like the writing. It's just not.
Right.
So
I'm glad I didn't wear makeup because I just got very emotional. So thank you so much for your response.
No, thank you. Thanks so much.
Hi. So for a lot of us, I guess we're not young, millennial Trek fans who kind of grew up on TNG, at least for me, TNG was kind of the first representation of a lot of ideas of like diversity and cooperation. And so in thinking of that spirit and kind of helping kind of mold the social experience of younger Trek fans, what voices are missing in current Trek? Like I know on your podcast, you've talked a lot about this, and I now listen to All the Asians in Star Trek, which is a phenomenal rec.
All the Asians on Star Trek. You got to check out that pod if you don't already listen to it. It's great.
Yeah, but who's missing from writer rooms? Who's missing from our screen? Who should we be seeing that we're not?
Yeah, I can't give an exhaustive list because there are definitely lots of groups missing that I won't think of here, but the first group that comes to mind, we definitely need meaningful Native representation behind and on camera. That's a huge Hollywood oversight in general. I've gotten fortunate enough to meet a lot of the Native comedy community in LA just through like doing my podcast, through my friend Joey Clift, the wonderful show Rutherford Falls, Reservation Dogs, like incredible shows that didn't fully get their due or their chance to really, spread their wings as much. And yeah, I think we need it in Trek. We got to make up for some Chakotay crimes, and we got to, we got to make up for some pan flute crimes, and, and that starts in the writer's room. It really does. So, yeah, thanks. Hello.
Hi, Tawny.
Hi.
I kind of courted you in the bathroom yesterday.
Don't tell people that.
That came out wrong.
Yeah, don't say that out loud. No, it's nice to see you. How are you?
And I still have them. So my name is Janice White. My friend Stephanie's like, if you don't come into this room and introduce yourself to her, I'm going to beat you up.
Oh, no.
So seriously, I am the host, producer, and the director of Royal Reggae Party. With me, Goddess Janice, every Thursday night. So I hope to keep in touch. You can come on Facebook, where I have not only Goddess Janice page, but a World Reggae Party page, as well as a Janice White, Genise, Janice R. White page in Facebook as well. And it was great meeting you yesterday.
Oh, it was great meeting you too. Cool. I love reggae. I'll check it out.
Thanks.
Don't get beat up.
Hello. My name is Laura, and it's Janice's birthday today. We're going out tonight.
Oh my gosh, happy birthday, Janice. Hey, boogie on reggae woman. Yes.
Yes. I don't know if anyone's already asked this question because work only let me have off for today. So what would you say the challenges are of doing live action versus voice acting as far as doing the same character goes?
The challenges with voice acting, this is not true of Mariner, but this is true because I love Mike McMahon and I love our producers. Mm-hmm. Voice acting on other jobs, I've said before, I don't love because I find it very restricting. You're in a little booth. Nowadays, it's like, the producers aren't even there. You're just looking at a screen of black Zoom windows. Nobody's even really talking to you. But you do a few takes, and then somebody's like, can you do it more like this? And then they give you a line reading. And so it just feels very mechanical to me, and it doesn't feel like why I got into this business, which is to, like, make connections and have friendships and have that summer camp feeling of being a cast.
So you're kind of by yourself.
Yeah, you're very isolated, and then you're kind of also micromanaged a lot, and that doesn't do well for my personality, if you can't tell. So I really like on camera because there's just all the freedom in the world. You have your full instrument to play. And then, of course, the actors that think I'm crazy for this, because they're like, what? Voice acting? You get to just like show up in your pajamas. You don't have to go to hair and makeup. You're in and out in an hour. They're like, it's such a quicker way to make money. And I'm like, I don't know. If I wanted a quick way to make money, I'd be like a scammer or something.
Not as much fun as working with people to bounce off.
Yeah, I want to be on set. That's what I like.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
By the way, that puts you in common with a lot of the cast of the original series because they did their characters in the animated series from the 70s, which is what I grew up on. So.
Yeah, that's a hard thing. When I was talking with the Strange New Worlds cast, for instance, many of them hadn't done much voice acting. So when, for the end of Those Old Scientists, if you've seen it, where they have to be animated, a lot of them were like, wait, I just played this character for a season and a half at this point, but now in the booth, I don't know how to translate it into my voice. And it's because it is like when you establish a character using your whole face and body, to put all that emotion just in your voice can be a weird mind trick. So I totally get it.
I thought you appreciate the little factoid. So
yeah, thank you. Thanks
You're
for
welcome.
that. Take care. Hello, hello.
Hi, Tawny. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to say, especially after the initial thing about people hating on Mariner and hating on and hating on everybody, I love Mariner.
Oh, thank you.
I love the characters on Lower Decks.
Thanks.
Because I'm a big fan of people who act like people. This came up a little bit during Jay Lee's talk, contrasting the Orville with like Next Gen, because on they're people who act like people. I love the fact that Mariner is often a screw up.
Yeah.
I love the fact that she has that tense relationship with her mother. I love the fact that she wants to party all the time. And honestly, I think one of my favorite line readings in all of Star Trek is the first time Mariner sees the Moopsie do its thing. because oh my God, holy fuck is absolutely the right reaction to seeing the little marshmallow creature in the zoo turn out to be this unstoppable, voracious bone vampire.
Yeah, a bone drinking psychopath. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great stuff, and I hope it continues for a good long while.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
And again, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think it is. I just want to address that a little bit because sometimes when we talk about the racism and the sexism that we experience in this business, there is a tendency of us to then go, but most of the fans are great. I get so much love, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of purposely didn't do that when I was answering her question because I don't feel it's required. I feel that I'm allowed to just speak on a thing that is true and happening and like let that be that. But since you said something so nice, I do want to acknowledge like how lovely like most of my interactions have been, and truly all my interactions in person, because bigots are cowards. No one ever says shit to me in person. They are. And I'm taller than everybody, so I'm like, I dare you to try to be mean to me. You're gonna be terrified. But yeah, so I have had such lovely. I've had a lot of both. It's been a lot of very hot and very cold experiences, and I'm very grateful for the good ones. So thank you. Hello.
Thank you for coming again. And I will say that I haven't been exposed to a lot of the internet trolls that have been hating upon this particular series. I've seen some criticism, but to be honest, I think getting back to the original Star Trek, Lower Decks is probably as close to that, I think, in spirit. And anybody that's going to start criticizing being woke or the the mix of any of the characters and such and aliens has left behind all of the original concepts. And I don't think them as Star Trek fans, they're just somebody who wants to get attention. Yeah. And it's sad that anybody would pay any attention to these trolls that are just criticizing is that this character is that and whatnot. That's crazy. It's not Star Trek. Yeah. I'm not a young man. I grew up watching the original series. I've loved it. And almost every incarnation. I'll leave the Jar Jar Abrams alone. I've just, I've been in love with the concept that we can be better, we can grow, and we can, embrace each other's differences rather than hold them apart from us.
Sure, yeah, I agree with you.
I love the fact that your character is a very strong female character and has done so much. And when it comes down to acknowledgement, she doesn't care. You're there for the experience. It's like, yeah, I didn't do it for the promotion. I did it because it was the right thing to do, because it felt right. And I think that's the great spirit about your show and your character.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so nice. Hello.
Hi. I was curious about, you were talking about in the animated, you're kind of like in a box.
Yeah.
Do you get much collaboration? Do you get to give input on the shows at all?
Yeah, so like you know what I used to do? I used to read the scripts and then like make all my notes the night before and like make a bunch of alts and stuff and then come into the booth and have all these alts like ready to go. But then, I don't know, I got lazier or it just like they started writing the roles to sound more like me, so I didn't need as many alts. And then I can still improvise in the booth. So now we record so much faster now than we used to, because I think like I got used to Mike got used to me, and it just became like a more symbiotic sort of relationship there. So yeah, I have input whenever there's really only been one script that I was like, dog, what is this? This sounds like Bad Friends. Like, this sounds like, I sound like Chandler Bing. What did you write? What is going on? And he was like, oh, we had a problem and I had to rewrite it last minute. This is just a draft to like, just get the animatic down and then we'll go back in and fix it. And then I feel like we did almost all ADR on that episode because it was like, just weird. Not like bad, but just like, it just didn't feel like Mariner. I was like, what is happening here? So yeah, I pull out let me text Mike when I need to.
Do you find that some of the new series are missing any kind of characters? Do you feel like there's gaps?
I just think they could use more comedy, but that's me with everything. Like, some of my favorite Trek is just some of the most bonkers, flat-out Ferengi shenanigans, or even when there's, you watch what are those Deep Space Nine episodes, like Favor the Bold and stuff, which is like such an intense war. That's the one where they like take the station back. That's an intense episode, very action-heavy. But like Kira and Quark are still having little quips every now and then. And I do feel that modern Trek, I feel that we've lost a lot of that. I feel
not enough levity.
Yeah, everything's important and high action and intense, and then we forget that we need, it can't just be Tilly like messing around. Like everyone can have a comedic point of view because that's how life is. So that's my little crusade these days.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello. Hi. So my question's actually a pretty bad follow-up to that, because I wanted to ask about, as Mariner, like you're mostly doing comedy, but when we're getting into your experiences with the Dominion War and like the trauma that you're overcoming there, I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, because I think Lower Decks has been doing like the best job of kind of lovingly critiquing the Federation and like Trek as a whole. So any insights you have on that?
Yeah. So, wait. Can you rephrase your question?
So Mariner, Dominion War, trauma, Federation's shortcomings.
Yes, Federation. Thank you for the cliff notes. Yeah, I think it's really important to have people call out the thing that the fandom has kind of been talking about with the Federation for a long time, the little debate of like, these are explorers, but they're kind of just like this imperialistic military, right? And everyone's like, no, we're about peace and science. And it's like, right, but don't they make you like change your whole culture in order to join? Isn't that kind of messed up? No, definitely not. So it's interesting I think it's necessary to have those conversations on screen. I think we got to have that conversation in text and not just, in our headcanons and stuff as we talk about the shows. I think the shows are smart enough where characters would be saying the same things that we're saying. So I love that Mariner gets to be a voice of that, because I've had those feelings. I'm like, I don't want to be in the space military. I want to be in the, space cool people who study goop to see if it can talk, So that's important to me. I also think that the exploration of the Dominion War stuff is so important because we're just not hearing enough about it. All love in the world to Picard season 3, but like, where was any mention of Ben Sisko? Like, that should have been firmly in there. And I feel like we kind of just like gloss over Dominion War sometimes in the franchise these days. And I'm like, that was a huge war. I don't know if you ever met anybody who's been in a war. They don't really not talk about it. They talk about it. Like, people don't stop talking about a war. So I think we could use more of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hello.
Hello. So I most sincerely apologize for bringing up those old science.
You're allowed. You just don't. You're not allowed to say, "Was it fun?"
No. Okay.
Because what am I going to say? No.
So there was a point in there that you guys point out something that I didn't notice until you mentioned in the episode that everybody talks slow in the past, and everybody does definitely talk fast on your show. Is there a reason for that? Were you guys told to talk faster, or is that just your chemistry? Or?
No. So it's a tonal thing. If you notice, a lot of one, it's that animation. You just talk faster in animation. 2, it's comedy. Comedy plays fast these days. It's just like a modern. It's just the way comedy is. You know, you watch like Bob Newhart or something, and it was really paced and it was very funny. But like, it was. You watch it now, you could drive a truck through those pauses. So nowadays, you watch, Abbott Elementary, or you watch any like modern comedy, and like things are rapid fire because it's how you surprise people. People laugh when they're like surprised. So because Strange New Worlds is not a comedy, their pace of speech is much slower. I talk about this in the writer's room all the time, where I'm like, if I write a 40-page script, that is going to fly compared to if a drama writer writes a 40-page script, because these jokes won't play if the actors are like really taking their sweet time and thinking about stuff in between. Like, it's timing, So it was both the combination of our animation, our comedy, and, being in this. And then we made an in-universe reason of it being because they're in the past. But the meta reason is truly just like the tonal mishmash of these shows together.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hello.
Hello. I have more of a technical question from these old scientists.
I wonder if I know it.
All right, well, I hope so, because it would have affected you directly.
Okay.
So when you were wearing the uniform that now is real, it looks like it's neoprene. So I'm wondering, is it neoprene? Was it thick? And which way did it unbutton?
Tell me what neoprene is again?
That kind of like diving suit material.
Oh, like scuba. It did feel like that. It did feel like that. And it's 2 pieces. Where did it button? There was a hidden zipper on the side, so we like shimmied into it. Now, the flap didn't open. So it was all one piece, and then there was like one little zipper like you'd have in like an evening gown. And so we like shimmied into it. But the pants had like a suspender that you wore underneath so that they wouldn't fall down. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the pants tucked into the boots?
Yeah, they were a stirrup pant. All the cosplayers are like, thank you. Yes, what else can I tell you? Yeah, so it was like a neoprene. It had a seam on the front, and it had a stirrup that went around our sock. And then the boot was like a rain boot painted red on the bottom. What else? The top. Okay, so this is really important. Jonathan Frakes taught me this. I went in for my first costume fitting, and they make Bernadette Croft is the costume designer. She's incredible. I think just in general with men's costuming and women's costuming, they just, they do different stuff to like accentuate your hips, just because like gender is a scam. So the Jack's shirt and my shirt were slightly different shapes, and when we put it on, my point was really pointy, and Frakes took a look at it and he said, you got to redo that, because if it's too pointy, it'll flip up all the time, because that's what used to happen to them when they had 2 pieces on TNG. So he's like, make the point less shallow, and then you won't constantly be doing a little Picard maneuver all the time.
All right. And do you recall how thick the neoprene was, the fabric?
It was thick. It was because it was hot, and then when I would sweat all day, you didn't see it. So, yeah, it felt like that scuba material, and then the piping was like thick too, and there were shoulder pads.
All right, thanks.
So it stays in place. Yeah, you're welcome. I look forward to all of your costumes. It's exciting. What else?
Let's see. It occurs to me you aren't the first SCTV alumnus that's been on the Farpoint stage.
Not TV. I'm not that old, but Second City. Yeah.
No, I conflate the two. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
But can you tell us how you got involved with Second City? Did they just have an open audition that you happened to show up?
No, I was doing theater, and I was touring with a bunch of bands, and I was just kind of like making a living doing that. And then someone saw me at a reading for a new play. I used to do a lot of new work, I think because I had like a comedian's energy. So new work in theater is the place where the text is not super solid. So they want actors to bring themselves to it and play with the words. So I would do a lot of like new play readings. I'd have a lot of friends who would then go on to like, be incredible Broadway playwrights who were starting their career in Chicago. So I was doing one of those, and the director of talent at Second City saw me and was like, we need an understudy for Amber Ruffin's understudy, because they didn't have enough black women. And so, yeah, that was how I got the job. And I went to Rochester, New York for my first Second City job, and I was there for like 2 months. And then I came home, and then I went back to Rochester for another 3 months. And I was like, I never want to do comedy in Rochester, New York again. I'd done it all. I'd said every joke that upstate New York needed to hear. Hi.
Hi. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what is your personal history with Star Trek, and like in what ways, like how did you first find it? In what ways did it speak to you?
Yeah, I mean, my parents were both fans. So my dad was always, they both watched all of it, but I remember my dad really showing me Deep Space Nine because he was like, this is black people and they're just being black people in space, and nobody's a maid and nobody's, in the Civil War. And, it was just like true Afrofuturism, which I didn't know that term at the time, but it was just, God, the fact that we need a long-ass word to just mean, like, black people can live and do chill stuff in the future. But that's what it was. My dad was just like, cool, I can show you this and don't have to have a long explanation about traumatic things. And same with my mom. She was always just such a Trek fan. Her favorite series is Enterprise, which, God love her. I don't know anyone whose favorite series is Enterprise. We love it, but I don't know anyone who's seen it 5 times through like she has. Yeah, all of you gasped. But when I was growing up, Voyager was on, and so I would watch a lot of that with her. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sokol at Cisco, he's just a great captain, and the fact that he's black is just incidental. It doesn't play into the plot until you get to Far Beyond the Stars, and then it's just like, wow,
Well, I think interestingly, though, I think for black people it does play into the plot because we see an example of a black family unit that we know is real, and especially in the 90s, we didn't get to see a lot of that because it was all like about like hardship stories and like absentee dads and stuff. But I saw that and very clearly understood, like, if that was a white captain and son relationship, that relationship would have looked and felt totally different. So to us, it was it was a very coded thing that Avery was doing, because I don't know that the writers were actually that knowledgeable about, like, black family shit to inject that in there. But yeah, so I'm forever grateful to the Ciscos for showing us that.
That's great.
Yeah. Thanks.
I was going to say infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Right?
Every day. Thanks. Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good. You can pull it down if that's easier. You can tilt it. Whatever you want.
I'm just
there you
a short
go.
person.
All good.
I know you meet a lot of celebrities going to all the different conventions and everything. I was wondering if there's ever anyone that you've met that you fangirled over or would love to meet that you would probably fangirl over.
I just told this story to Dr. Aaron last night in the bar. So yeah, with TV people, I tend to kind of think like, oh, I'll probably end up working with I've worked with incredible people. I've worked with Steve Carell, Hank Azaria, Kevin Hart. I get to work with really lovely, cool people. Musicians, though, really gobsmack me when I get to meet like musicians I've idolized. And the most recent example of this, I'm a lifelong Talking Heads fan. I was in a Talking Heads tribute band when I lived in Chicago. I've performed Stop Making Sense as Lynn Mabry approximately 58 times. I've watched Stop Making Sense maybe 200 times. The only thing other than Deep Space Nine that I can go on and on and on about is the Talking Heads. So and I've met many members of the band. Jerry Harrison was so kind. He invited me to the A24 screening of Stop Making Sense for their, like, what is it? Is it the 50th? It's the 50th, right?
50th anniversary.
Oh my God, 50th anniversary. No, of Stop Making Sense, that was 83, so it was 40th. 40th. Yeah, it's 40th. I was like, I know I'm not that old. But yeah, the band has been around longer. But yeah, for that concert film. And the last piece of the puzzle was, of course, David Byrne. I had not met him, and I got to go to the little after party, and I'm talking to Lynn Mabry, and I'm talking to Chris France, and they're like, oh, you haven't met David yet. You met all of us, but you haven't. And I'm taking pictures with them, and I was just like, I don't think I should. And they were like, no, you got to go up. up and I was just like, and I had that feeling that you guys I'm sure all have where I'm like, what do I even say to this person? He doesn't want to hear from, there's nothing I can say. And I wasn't even asking for an art. So I go up to him and I said, hi, David. And this is a private party. So he knew if I was in there that I wasn't a crazy person that was going to attack him because they wouldn't let me in. So it was like a private thing. So he was immediately like, oh, hi. Oh, you know Jerry, right? And I was like, okay, I'm in. It's good. But what I said to him was, thank you for music. And he went, oh wow, thanks. Sure. I was like, thank you for music? What am I talking about? So yeah, that'll haunt me.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for your question. Hello.
Hello. So I'm not sure I actually have a good question or anything. I just want to hear more stories about your fun stuff. But your comment about how Star Trek really does seem to be quite imperialistic and colonialistic made me start thinking the only people who currently go into space are NASA civilians who might have had a military background. So is there room in the Star Trek universe for there to be, I know we every once in a while see academics going out and exploring, but to have an actual agency, like a NASA agency in Star Trek that wouldn't have to be militaristic or colonialistic?
I would be very excited to see that. What is interesting to me though is that it then really I don't know this from an official standpoint. This is me guessing as a lifelong fan. I think the reason we haven't seen as much of that is because it would draw too stark a contrast between what the Federation is doing, what Starfleet is doing. And I think that no one has wanted to touch that. Because, in writers, you're always looking for, writers' rooms, you're looking for interesting dynamics and, what makes people as different as possible so you can explore comedic and dramatic tension. And I think if we start focusing on the civilians whose job it is to just explore and blah, 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 then we have to look and go, wait, but isn't that what Starfleet is supposed to be? Oh, wait, are they actually just soldiers? Uh-oh. So I think people have been scared to touch that too much. Yeah. But I would be curious to see it because I think we got to be honest about what Starfleet is really doing. I do.
Just what's a fun story that you usually don't get to tell that you love and just kind of think about?
From conventions or?
Anything.
From anything.
You've had such an interesting life, and so it'd be interesting to know what you don't normally get to share and have always kind of wanted to share or think about. Yeah.
What if I talk about everything. What'd you say?
Thank you for music.
Thank you for music. Yeah, that was really dumb. That was very dumb. What else have I gotten to do? I have weird inside baseball things about the way Hank Azaria likes to film a scene.
Yes, please.
You want to hear that?
Yeah.
It's such weird actory inside stuff, so it might be boring, but I'll tell it quickly. So Hank, I did a show called Brockmire with him, and he does this very interesting, unique thing where he, first of all, wants to normally in TV you film the wide shot to the tight. So you go wide, then you do a two shot with, if there's two people in the scene, you might do overs, whatever. And the end of your day, you get tighter and tighter because the idea is you're we don't get rehearsals in TV. You're feeling out the scene, you're working out the blocking. So in the wide, it can be a little messy so that by the time you get to the tight, you know exactly what you're doing, where you're putting what, all that. He does the opposite. He wants to start tight because in the morning, he's the freshest. He feels like he doesn't look tired. So you start in a close-up and then you're so I got to figure out where I'm going to walk and what I'm going to do so that it eventually matches the wide. So that's backwards. And he also does this thing he calls the versions that I think he said he learned from not directly from Brando, but Brando had taught it to somebody. So what he does is he'll film every scene with the same emotion for every line. So he'll do a take that's the angry take, where every line he says sounds angry, even if he's just grabbing a microphone or picking up a cup. And then he'll do a happy, funny guy version. But so every line he'll do that. And then because he's an executive producer on the show, he and the other producers in the edit carve together the performance that he wants that makes the most sense. But it's a wild way to film where you just got this guy barking lines at you that are written to be hey, do you want to come over? And he's do you want to come over? And you're why? He does this he paints the whole scene with a one flavored paintbrush and then films it 5 times. As well. I've never seen anybody work like that, but he's a master. He's a comedy master, so yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know. Was that boring?
No, that's fascinating.
I had a question about Alonzo Freeman, the admiral that is supposed to be your character's father. Do you think they're going to explore any of that in the next season?
What happens in 5? There's something with him in 5. I can't remember. I just know we did a scene together. Yeah, we really haven't seen much of him except for the top of 3 on Earth when he had that great view out his window of the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah, we haven't seen a ton of him. I do think we see him a little bit more in 5, but I honestly don't even remember what we do.
And do you think they'll do another live action crossover kind of thing where we get to see the actors, portray their characters?
I would like to. I think that, one, Jack Quaid is the most booked man in Hollywood, so it is very hard grabbing a window in his schedule. I know, sometimes when I'm having dinner with him, I'll get if I'm texting with one of the producers from the show, I'll be like, I'm having dinner with Jack, and they'll be like, he was free for a dinner? Could you guys have come in? And and I'm like, no, I mean, he's not here. He's not here. He's in Toronto. Just kidding.
I would watch that. Dinner with Jack White and...
Yeah. But he's so busy. I think it's hard. We all want to. I think it's just going to be whether it makes sense for that show, whether it's a different show. Yeah. No one's anti. Every time I see Henry Myers, the showrunner for Strange, he's always like, we got to get you back on the show. Akiva the other day asked, this might be a spoiler, so I'm not going to say details, but Akiva goes, would you wear a prosthetic and come on Strange New Worlds as blank character? And I went, I don't think that the fans would like that. When you see what it is eventually, what they decided to do is very cool. You'll love it. But I was like, I don't think that should have been me. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Hello. I'm Monika, and I'm a big fan. I've been standing next to you all weekend and afraid to talk to you.
No,
I can't believe I'm doing this now in front of all these other people, but...
This is great. I know. I've been seeing you. I saw your knitted cosplay. I talked to your husband.
Thanks. I am super curious about Starfleet Academy. Mm-hmm. And I listened to an interview with you and Will Wheaton in which you're joining potentially the writing staff?
Girl, I'm in it. We've been going because of the strike, it's been over a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could share anything about it. Will it be an animation? Will it be a live action?
No, I can confirm the stuff that's already out there, just so that none of this is a spoiler, but maybe not everybody saw all the details. So it is live action. It's in the 32nd century. Yeah, what else do they say in the thing? It's a new era for the Federation, which if you're watching the most recent seasons of Disco, you know why that is. So yeah, it really is a kind of a re-emerging of what the Academy is. And it's taking, I think in the press release it does say this is our first class post-burn. So yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, technically, though, in Disco, there were Academy students. But in the press release, we do say, this is a new era of Starfleet Academy. So I think I'm safe to say all that. Just do me a favor. Nobody, quote this and write it on Twitter, because if I said it out of order or something, then Screen Rant writes a thing about it. God love them. And then I get a call from Secret Hideout, and I don't need that. So just... I'm not saying anything that breaks my NDA, but if I say things in the wrong order, people get annoyed. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
The second part of this is because one of the reasons why I really love Lower Decks and aspects of Tilly in Discovery and other characters that are not as powerful and the big decision makers. I love to see how the other aspects of teamwork, and I think the Academy will focus on that, and then also just bringing different groups together and that training program. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think your instincts are right. It's always cool to see people at the start of their journey.
Yes.
In Starfleet, in Star Trek, we see Starfleet people who are so seasoned and already good at it. And so when it was pitched to me, when Alex Kurtzman asked me to join the room, what was so exciting to me was that he was like, we get to see these people who are learning how to be these great captains and engineers that we love. So
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, thanks for coming to Baltimore.
Yeah, thank you.
I was up till 4 or 5 in the morning streaming Strange New Worlds.
Oh,
So
wow.
I finally got to the crossover episode. That
Oh,
I hear
nice.
about. And I'm a little sleep deprived, and I keep walking out of the building to learn how to use my camera. It's been 10 or 15 years, so I'm not walking out on you. But I've heard some voice actors, they just show up and they do their part. Are you in the same room with the other Lower Decks people? No.
No,
So it must have been a lot more easier to do the crossover. That was more fun. And
Yeah, and like I keep saying, like Jack and I are primarily on camera actors, so it just kind of felt like finally okay, we get to do this for real.
Right, I did a little bit of acting, but that was before COVID. Did someone say there might be more crossover?
We said we all want to do it, but we have nothing official. But everybody's all at every event I see everyone at. We're like, we should do this. We should find a way.
Right. Are you up for another season, or have they already renewed for the next season?
We have season 5 coming sometime. We've recorded it, but we don't know when it's coming out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Hi. So earlier today, Jay Lee was out here talking about his experience on the Orville and being surrounded by a lot of Jewish writers and not having strong representation in the room. I was kind of curious, your experiences. What is it like? How to phrase this? Do you feel like you are able to be your authentic self in the writing room, and are all cultures try to understand each other during the process? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I think so. Starfleet Academy is my first official staff job. I've always been an actor, and I think I'm incredibly lucky. / our showrunners, Alex Kurtzman and Noga Landau, are absolute champions in terms of first assembling a diverse room. It is majority women. It is people that are everyone is so kind. Like, there's just not a jerk. There's not one jerk. And that is so rare. And it's a big room. A lot of the things that we were talking about before the strike with the Writers Guild was how, studios have just been shrinking rooms down and down and down. So then you have these like 4 or 5 very overworked writers trying to churn out all this television. We have a huge room. We have like 11 or 12 people. And that is more typical of how, people used to do things. And I think I think our showrunners really care about our experience as human beings. We're very well, like our spirits are taken care of. So because of all of that, it is just like a given that we are all showing up as our full authentic selves. Like and I think these things are so intertwined because like if you're worried about asking your boss, like, oh my gosh, I have this other meeting during when we're supposed to roundtable my episode, but he's going to be pissed and he's going to yell at me. If you're worried about that, how on earth can you say, hey, in scene 7, there's a language that we're using to describe this character that I feel might be a little insensitive, and as a black person, I blah, blah, blah. So those things have to be there for you to be able to point out those harder things. And so it is not only welcomed, but expected that all of us who come from any sort of, marginalized background in the room are speaking up and calling things out and sharing our perspective on stuff, because the fan base is so diverse. This fan base is one of the most diverse in out of all the franchises. I see it way more than in other franchises. I have friends who, it truly is. I have friends who, are in Star Wars or in lovely other franchises, but like the fan base just looks nothing like the Trek fan base. So we have to have those voices in the room to reflect all of you. We just have to. And we still have a long way to go. There's still lots of groups not represented, but yeah, it's important.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Hello.
Hi. Okay, last crossover question. But I saw an interview where Jack said that you broke things on set.
Yeah, I broke a lot.
As a fan, like yourself, I was wondering, what you broke and why, and if there's any cool insight.
It wasn't on purpose, girl.
Why you're drawn to it, and if there's any cool insights about the physical sets that you can share with us.
Yeah, the thing is that the thing I can share with you is that they are sets and it is not a real spaceship. So that was my bad going in. So there was a slider, all the sliders in engineering. I was like, my first day, I was just like, oh, poop. And I was like, it just snapped off. I was like, it's a slider. And Jack was like, it's not a slider. It's not a slider. It's just glued on. And I was like, well, what? It should slide. And he's like, because no one touches that one. If you're blocked to push a slider, you push the one they show you. I was like, well, they should have told me. So that's all going on in the background at the end of the, with the thing, the heronium that they put in the thing, and Spock and them are like, wait, we sound like the ensigns. Me and him are back there just being like, just don't touch it. Somebody will come and fix it. Because that was my first day, and Jack had already been there like a day and a half. So that was the first thing I broke, and then it just started a cascade of like, so the transporter, that like, you know, the way they do that is you stand there, they film you, then you have to like run away really fast while they film another plate. It's called plates, and they have to do all this stuff, so they layer it. And you have to run away and like hide on the sides, and there's like 1.5 feet, so you have to like squish up against the wall. So I was like, oh, and you know, the Strange cast, they're used to it. So they like run and they hide, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be really smart and I'm gonna make sure I don't like poke, because if you poke out, you ruin the shot. So there's all these like handles on the wall, these like metal, like industrial like things. And so I ran up to the side and I grabbed 2 of them, and this one just came off right in my hand. At that point, Jack had been counting them. So as we're squished up against the wall, he just leaned over and goes, 6. Yeah. I also, I think I put my elbow through a panel in the captain's chair. Because we just snuck onto the set I didn't even have a scene on that set, but we were just taking pictures in the captain's chair. And so I like leaned on the thing, and my elbow just went through like I feel like at that point it was just like you just hear this crack or whatever, and then just like a set designer or a props person would just come with like a broom or some tape or something, and they wouldn't even look at me. I was just like, sorry. But yeah, it's not a real place. It's a set.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know if they do. Maybe that's why there's no second crossover. I cost them too much money. Maybe.
Hello again. I'm still tired, but thank you for the music.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for music. For the. You have to sound like you just landed on Earth that morning. Like, thank you for music.
A couple friends of mine made Space Force outfits, and I left mine at home. But you actually
looked incredible. Yeah.
Right. And where did you shoot that? And do you have stories about Space Force? And should your agent submit you to apply for All of Mankind that's on Apple TV?
Oh my gosh, I think
that would be great, wouldn't it?
I think if I do any more space-related shows, they have to be Star Trek. Otherwise, it's just starting to become like a weird fetish. Like, I don't think I can go to other franchises and just be like the space girl. But yeah, we filmed that first season in LA. A lot of like Dominguez Hills. A lot of the big like rock quarry out near Agua Dulce. Where else? There's a lot of locations, all locations. And then season 2, they slashed our budget and punished us by sending us to Vancouver because they were like, you guys cost too much money. And yeah, so they slashed our episode number and our money. And they said, you got to film everything like indoors, no more CGI rockets. But then it was a more fun season. It made for like a real workplace comedy.
Yeah, I wish they would have at least tied. You had a cliffhanger, and there's no season 3. But
no.
It would have been nice to have made a 90-minute wrap-up movie.
I don't think it was a cliffhanger at the end of season 2.
You don't think so?
No.
All right. I just remember something coming at the Earth.
Yeah, it was an asteroid, man. Yeah, we died.
Oh!
Sorry to spoil it.
I'm tired. Okay.
Earth got destroyed at the end of Space Force season 2. Spoiler alert.
I saw David Letterman interview someone on the Harry Potter movies, maybe the actress played Hermione, and he said, so did everybody die? And she just looks at him like,
oh, that's weird.
Yeah, you actually did that. You had everybody die.
I mean, I think we did. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But there will not be a season 3. I know that for sure.
All right, thanks for coming again.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Hello. So sitting here listening to you and talking about sort of like your experience as an African-American actress made me think about like back when Star Trek started in the way back, how much of a fight like Nichelle Nichols was up against and Gene Roddenberry like really, you know, forcing the issue that she just had to be there. And like watching the original series, like now, you can kind of see like little moments where Nichelle really drops in moments of character that I don't think maybe we're always there in the writer's room, but you can see Nichelle really creating Uhura on screen. And then here we are now with you as the lead of a show, Sonequa as the lead of a show, and it's just like phenomenal to see how things have come, not even full circle, but like really blossomed. So what gives you hope for the future in terms of like where would you like to see Star Trek grow in ways that it has grown looking back?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that what gives me hope for the future are the people that really truly care about the franchise. We have these like protectors of the franchise. You know, my fellow writer in the writer's room with me, Kirsten Bayer, John Van Sitters, so many more that are like these stewards of this beautiful thing that we all love. And I extend that to my showrunners, to the people at Secret Hideout. They really care about Trek, and they care about it being taken care of and not going backwards. They care about representation. I can tell you that when our room it's common for writers' rooms to meet with experts from different groups, from different marginalized groups. We had speakers come in and talk to us from Human Rights Watch. We had a wonderful, amazing man come in and talk to us from GLAAD, and he was a Trekkie. So not only was he talking to us about meaningful and responsible representation of queer and trans people, but he was also just like nerding out about Trek with us. And, you know, just in talking to him about like what we care about and how we want to honor these stories and like tell queer stories responsibly, he was kind of like tearing up and we were kind of tearing up. And it was just like this love of protecting Trek that it gives me a lot of hope, because I think that I've done a lot of jobs, and there's not always the passion. A lot of times you're like, I'm very happy to have a job. I'm so lucky. This is a great way to make a living. But like, if somebody was like, well, this show can never exist ever again, it just wasn't popular, you kind of don't lose any sleep over it. But I think the passion for the world that so many of the people I work with have is really what keeps me hopeful that we'll keep making the right decisions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, and I'm afraid that's all the time we have with Tawny right now.
Oh, dang.
Yep. If you get a chance, please stop by her table right after we're done. So now please give her a big round of applause. Thank her for coming to Farpoint.
Thanks, everybody.
Gracing us with her stage.
Thank you. This was fun. Loved it. Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.